Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host Superman in the house again for another awesome live stream. We're going to be getting into the stock market. We're going to kick that off, and we had, of course, the Federal Reserve do its interest rate announcement, so we'll get into the details about that. We're in earnings season, of course, so we've got about a third of the big stock market companies are reporting this week, and I think at least 4 of the the Magnificent Seven, reporting as well. They were mostly after hours as well, so that should price in, I guess, post-market prices as well as the market opening up again tonight, I guess, for Wednesday's activities. And then we're going to get into crypto. Obviously, crypto showing a bit of volatility, but actually holding up pretty well still. And then we're going to get into the Ethereum. So Ethereum there, getting more buys from Bitmine Immersion, the number one digital asset treasury from Tom Lee, and also staking more. So we're going to check out all that stuff and holding up Ethereum, I would say, as well. We're also obviously going to look at a Pulsechain and LibertySwap leading the way with their big wallet just launched. And we're going to look at some of the top performers on Pulsechain right now. So hopefully that'll be a bit of fun. Get into the chat there as well and let us know your thoughts on where the market is at for you, what you like, what you don't like, etc. And let's have a bit of fun today. That's where we're rocking and rolling. For sure. So it's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Who's in the house? We already got Hexvader in the house there. Hey, gang. Great to see Hexvader. Welcome to the chat as always. First in today as well. There, Hexvader. Very, very cool. Hope everything is going well with you. All right. So let's get into the stock market and see how things went on overnight for Tuesday. Let's see here where we're at. So we got the S&P 500. NASDAQ end little changed while the Dow slips after the Fed holds rate steady. So interest rates were held steady. That's what the market expected. There's no surprise there. And let's have a look at the results. So we've got the Dow Jones down 0.6%, 280 points to 48,861. And if we look at the little chart up here, we can see that we have not made a new all-time high yet. And we're down about 1,300 points, I think, from the high. S&P 500 is pretty much break even, down 3 points, 7,135, and we've got new all-time highs, right? We're at new all-time highs levels now, so it's pretty bullish. Tom Lee has a target of 7,700 this year, so we've got another almost 600 points to go for that. NASDAQ at the moment is up slightly, 9 points to 24,673 with all the tech companies in it. AI, etc., Mag 7, all that sort of stuff, and we can see that we're just off the all-time highs at the moment. So what a V recovery during the Iranian war, right? So kind of cool. We got the US dollar at the moment sitting at 98.78, pretty steady in the middle zone there over the last year, off the highs there of over 100, but above 96 at the moment, so kind of sitting in the middle there. And of course, the VIX index there is off the really, really crash price. We were up over 30 right at the peak of the war. We're back under 20 at 18.8. Probably the most peak times we're down about 14, 15. Probably 15 is where the volatility would be. So we're not quite there yet, but we're not bad, not bad. Let's go to the commodities. West Texas, pretty elevated oil prices again, obviously regarding Iran. And we're seeing things around that Trump's going to hold the blockade basically indefinitely at this stage, and some talks of potentially a second round of military attacks, possibly. That's an option, although I think the blockade is doing a lot of economic damage, and it looks like that will have potentially cascade failure within a week or so in Iran. And of course, inflation is going through the roof for chicken and beef and everything else, all up like 70%. So lots of bad things happening there. And once the Krag Island there with the storage is almost at full capacity, and so they may have to do lock-ins of their what do you call it? Their let me think. Their oil drills there, and so we'll see what happens there. We've got Brent oil at the moment, $111. That's down slightly, 0.7%, 78 cents. But pretty elevated oil prices at the moment still with the Strait of Hormuz issue, despite the fact that this is driving new behavior, new pathways in the oil flows, particularly America benefiting with a lot of ships now going to America to pick up oil and gas, including Europe, Australia, and many other places. So we are getting quite a little bit of a change in trade flows from that. Gold at the moment is up 0.6%, 30 points to 4,580. And silver there up 1.8%, $1.28 at $73.37. Although we do have lower lows in that chart, in the silver chart. They're 3 now. So question mark over where that's heading this year. We've got pretty much it. So we had some of the results from the Fed. Things would have been even worse if not for a mega cap earnings week. This, of course, after the bell. Tomorrow morning's March PCE and print as well coming in. So we're going to have the inflation data, the price data there for the Fed. That's going to be very important for the following meeting, giving investors hope for more upside momentum later on. What else we got there? We've got a big week ahead, of course, in the market. So the market Federal Open Market Committee, the FOMC, held the rates at 3.5 to 3.75%. And of course, the decision saw the highest number of dissents since 1992. One policy preferred a 25 basis point rate cut, and that's what we should get. This was Jerome Powell's last meeting, of course, as the president. He has signaled that he's going to stay on as governor, but he says he's not going to be, cause too much trouble, and he wants to see the legal challenges against the Fed die down, which is essentially against him, really. So we'll see how that plays out. He's trying to keep a low head. We'll see what he can do there. He is a Democrat, remember, he is a Democrat. The Fed's decisions come at a time when surging oil prices, and of course, it made their impact felt. More possibly inflation pain ahead, along with the labour market that remains in a low fire environment, has made the central bank's job complicated. And of course, holding rates steady was fully expected, but the presence of 3 dissents, I should say, against an easing bias came as a surprise, albeit an understandable one. The economic backdrop is unusually uncertain, says the chief global strategist there. With oil prices near $120 a barrel and inflation having run above target for 5 years, the Fed cannot dismiss the risk of inflation expectations becoming de-anchored. At the same time, it cannot ignore early signs of economic and labour market softening as households and businesses grapple with growing affordability issues. This leaves the path for rate cuts extraordinarily complex. But I suggest to you we'll probably end up getting a rate cut probably by July, I would say, if not next month. So we'll keep a lookout for this PCE rate coming in. I think it is coming in next 24 hours. There we go. So Powell also said he was planning to stay on as governor, as I said earlier. So we'll keep a lookout for that. We've got the new chair coming in, Kevin Walsh. He has cleared the U.S. Senate Banking Committee vote on Wednesday and now faces final confirmation vote. So he's pretty much there. So there we go. And very importantly, I think the Bank of Japan also held its key policy rate steady, while the Bank of Canada early morning did the same. And of course, there is the yen trade result related to the Bank of Japan that has caused problems in the past as well. So there we go. We also have the Mag 7 reports. As I said earlier, we've got the Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta. Some of those have come out, and so far some negative things happening there. Wednesday's slate of big tech earnings is critical given the outsized influence Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft have of their overall S&P 500 performance. Results and guidance from the companies can meaningfully shape index level direction and investor sentiment. Within the Mag 7 names reporting on Wednesday, of course, Meta has the most approved, so the company has already faced margin pressure from massive AI spending. It must demonstrate that AI spending is translating advertising revenue growth without further margin erosion, whereas Alphabet and Amazon and Microsoft benefit from more corporate and enterprise business models that offer a longer runway to show returns on investment. So there we go. So we'll keep a lookout for that. Obviously, Trump has extended the Iranian blockade there. And of course, the Iranians are not really serious about doing a deal yet. They need more pain. So that's what we're probably going to see happen there. So keep a lookout for that. All right. So that is the stock markets and the economic news at the moment. We got Pulse Bitcoin in the house. Woohoo! Hey, good to see you, Pulse Bitcoin. Welcome to the chat. And Craig Pitt as well. Morning all. Good to see you, Craig, too. Yeah, get your comments in the chat there, folks. Now, if you're on X, of course, don't forget to hit the repost button. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe as well. On the way in, they were streaming on 3 YouTube channels and on X. Oh, very cool. All right, so let's do a refresh here and look at crypto. Crypto's been kind of volatile, but in a higher range, which I think has been positive. We'll check that out in a minute. But overall, we've got the crypto market cap at 2.635 trillion, down 0.3%. We've got Bitcoin right now is sitting at $76,327. It's down 0.3% on 24 hours. And, I think it's the first time it's been down for a while on the weekly, down 2.4%. We got Ethereum at the moment is down 0.8% for the day at $2,272, so below 2,300, and that is down 4.2% for the week. XRP is down 0.1% at $1.38 and down 3.4% for the week. BNB down 0.9% at $620 at number 5, down 3% for the week. Solana there down 0.4%, 3.4% for the week at $83.78 at number 7. Tron there is actually up 0.5% at 32.3 cents, down 1.9% for the week. And finally, number 10, Dogecoin there has been performing pretty well because we're expecting X money. I think that's what's really driving it. X money wallet from Elon Musk apparently dropping. I think it's next week. It's dropping, and that is the public version, right? Moving out test phase here. A lot of wider adoption, of course, could be rampant. And we think that's going to be one of the roads to mass adoption of crypto too. We're expecting crypto to launch probably within a month after that, is my guess. Not just a fiat wallet, but a crypto wallet, and it offers pretty high yields too, right? For deposits at the moment, 6%, I think it is. So Dodge there is up 11.7% for the week, 7.3% today, sitting at 10.7 cents here. So Doge looking pretty good. And of course, if it keeps rising against the rest of these markets, it could slowly start moving up. I mean, it's got a long way to go. It's got to basically do a 2x to get in front of Tron. But hey, look, it could have a hyper rally and do a 2x. This is crypto after all. So keep a look out for Dogecoin there. Top 100 performers over the last 24 hours. Well, we got Dogecoin. We got Rain at number 2, up 5.9%. Aptos up 5.7%. Arbitrum up 3.1%. And Polar Xmatic up 2.2%. Over the last week, we got Blockchain Capital up 28%. Stable Chain, which is doing USD Tether, it's up 27%. Pudgy Penguins 20%. Pi Network up 12.6%, and Dogecoin there at number 5 at 11.7%. Those are top performers in top 100. Top 1,000 performers at the moment over the last 24 hours. We got Fluent, Zero Bro, and Nairos Protocol. Those are all up 40 to 80%. And then finally, trending overall is Ultima, Genzin, and Pudgy Penguins. They're all negative though today at the moment on there. That is our market right now. So down to slightly 0.3% overall, with Bitcoin there down slightly, down 0.4%. So let's zoom in on the old Bitcoin and see where that is on the chart. So we've got the hourly chart here. You can see the volatility. With the best performing category in markets, you got to ride through the volatility, right? So if you're new to crypto and you're watching this volatility, you're probably having little heart palpitations. If you've been around crypto, you know how the game works. All you have to do is make sure you're in the right thing and just hold for long enough, and the magic happens. So that's the thing to learn there. Now, obviously, we've had this nice little rise up here. We got to 77,000 over the last sort of 24 hours. $900. So, it has a feeling of appreciation and then a massive sell-off, right? Massive sell-off there, down all the way down to 74,910 and then back up at 76,000. So it's a huge range. I mean, think about this range. That is just in one day, that's a range of $3,000 on Bitcoin, which is 3.8%. So you got to get used to this churn, right? This churn. As long as the fundamentals and the chart's heading in the right direction, you got the right time frame, you'll really enjoy it, right? You'll really enjoy the returns that you'll get eventually, given where it's going. Let's have a look at the daily chart here. We've still got the 50-day moving up. That's the yellow line, and that is currently at $73,664. And we've got the 200-day in orange there, up at 82,300, which is kind of the natural next target, right? Is that 200 moving average there. And we've got, if this yellow line crosses the orange line, the 50 over the 200, we've got a golden cross, right? What's known as a golden cross, and that is hyper bullish. we could help spur a real re-rate there. So pretty cool. This box here that I've got is kind of the bottom of the range here. We did get down on the 6th of February to a low of 60,000, and we've come off the bottom of that, and that's because it fits pretty well with the power law curve that we've been following. And the power law floor is about 53, but I don't think we're going to get there. I think we're just up and away actually. And as long as Michael Saylor's stretch starts to mint, it'll be pretty close. I think it's about 9 or 10 days now. That's normally about the average. So I think maybe tomorrow's maybe the average time that normally recovers to $100. Now that hasn't happened because of the volatility that we've had yet. So I think we got up to like $99.70. I think we're about $99.50 or something. We need to get to $100 before it starts issuing new stretch shares and starts buying Bitcoin with it. But confidence is probably next week at least. We should get back to printing and probably have at least a good how we're up to at the moment, and maybe a good maybe 10 days of printing money there. Maybe not quite as long as we had previously, but then of course by June we'll be moving to 2 weeks. Right, we'll have a vote for moving to 2 weeks dividend payment, and then it'll be absolutely game on for sure. So a little delay this time, given the Iran war with the Strait of Hormuz and all that, probably causing most of the trouble there. But actually, I think we'll keep a lookout for next week with getting that to printing more. Now, we have had the Bitcoin conference on the last 2-3 days, and Michael Saylor there getting a absolutely packed auditorium. Apparently, it's been a little bit underwhelming with the attendance, but Michael Saylor was pretty packed. So where all the action is at, right, with the strategy there. And so we were looking for the stretch product. Maybe we might get to par on Friday. I don't know. We'll see. Or will it be next week that we get back to par? And we'll be watching the news there. All right. Now, as we get closer to the dividend period, of course, there's naturally going to be people wanting to buy up because they want to get that dividend. So we know it's going to head back up towards 100 as people clamor over to get the next dividend payout. So, and that should give us issuance. Just a question how much. Are we going to raise another 10, 20, 1,000 Bitcoin worth with the next round? Should do at least. And maybe we'll get even more surprise. Maybe we'll have less days where it's minting at the market, or ATM as they call it, but actually bigger days as we lead into that FOMO, which is what I would expect given where we are at the moment. So that will obviously flatten out that volatility and market activity once we get into the bi-monthly payments, which is where they're moving to flatten out this delay that we're saying, which is about 10.2 days on average. But I think we're going to be pushing that a little bit higher this time, just because of the volatility that we've had around the Iranian conflict there. So that's where we are in the market right at the moment. Looking pretty good though, and we're at the top of that range, the orange box range, and I think we are kind of pushing out of it. And of course, if we do get back to printing next week with the ATM up and away, and don't forget, it's not just stretch. They do issue common stock, and we saw that about 3,000 Bitcoin bought with common stock from strategy. That's MSTR. And what's the other thing we're seeing? ETFs go net positive buys, whales going next positive buys. We've got this momentum, more players coming in. So you've got to get excited about where we're heading here. All right, that is where we are on the markets. Let's go to the Ethereum, which is kind of the main commentary we're going to be doing today. And that is Ethereum here on the 1 hour, similar kind of volatility to Bitcoin that we're seeing in the market. And here we are. We were all the way up at 2,347, looking pretty nice. We came all the way down to 2,218. But actually, I think Ethereum's holding up pretty well. We're down at down 5.5%, but we're back up here. So a much bigger range than Bitcoin. It was close to 3%. Remember, we're about 5.5% here, but we're back up at $2,270. And of course, the big news is that Bitmine Immersion is buying more Ethereum, right? So Justin, this was the update that we got last Monday, right? So on the Monday we just had around the issuance there, they had added they had a balance of 5,778,000 ETH, which is pretty awesome. They've been adding to that this week, which is pretty awesome. Last week they added another 100,000 ETH. And they were sitting at 5,078,000. Remember, they're heading towards 6 million, and I think it's about 32,000 somewhere in that ballpark ETH. That's their target. So they've still got just under 1 million ETH to go, about 960 ETH to go. Well, the good news is they've been buying more, right? So they've been buying more, and we just see that they've been buying. I think it was yesterday. Yesterday bought another 45,000 ETH. So they're buying, probably doing a lot of OTC desk stuff. I think Coinbase and things like that. But they have been sucking supply out of the market regardless where it is. So that's pretty cool. So they've gone up even more now. They would put them at 5,120,000 with the ETH. But then they've just in the last few hours, apparently, they bought another 20,000 ETH for $45 million. So, this one here, the other one was 40,000. Now they've got another 20,000. So now, that's putting them at 5,140,000 ETH. So they're well on the way, heading towards that 6 million, that 5% alchemy or sovereign put, as Tom Lee talks about it, and they're supporting the market. All right, pretty cool. We got Baseline in the house there. Hey, yo, good to see you in the house. Welcome. So that's pretty exciting. So Bitmine is leading the way there, and exciting times, taking supply off the market. All right, so the other thing that we're seeing from Bitmine, of course, is also them staking, right? So they've increased their staking. I think last time they were up to 3.9 million. Well, they've been staking more of their 5.1 million ETH because they have just staked another 111,000. In fact, they've been increasing their staking. They had pretty much paused for a while, a few weeks, and then they've been, over the last week, they've been really ramping up their staking to get that full yield. So pretty cool. Bitmine just staked another 111,000 ETH worth 250 million bucks. They have 4 million ETH now worth staking, worth $9 billion in staking. Isn't that awesome? Very exciting stuff there. And of course, they also received that extra 60,000 ETH that they just bought, which they basically spent another 135 million bucks on ETH. So they're buying. And when you're buying, you're taking ETH off the market, and eventually that's going to have an impact on the spot market because you need to have willing buyers and willing sellers, and so they're buying so much ETH, it's crazy. So yeah, a lot of cool things happening there. All right, so that is pretty exciting, guys. And what's the impact on the validator queue? Well, look at the staking increase there. We've gone from 23rd of April. Over the last week, we were down at 2.7 million Ethereum going into the staking queue on Ethereum, and we've gone all the way up to 3.2. Now, Bitmine's not the only one that's been increased their staking. We've seen another player, just can't remember off the top of my head who it was, another player also staking a pretty decent amount, about 100,000 ETH as well, I think it was. But we're up at 2.7, and now we're at 3.24 million ETH going into the staking queue, entering. Now, it takes about 50 days to go through the queue. We have had a little bit of uprise here with the amount of ETH exiting the queue right now. So we have had that rise, 18,000. We've pretty much been near zero. Look at that. No one wanted to leave, right? Everyone wanted to come in, and that was pretty exciting. We have had a rise up to about 434,000. Now, I'm not sure what they were going to be doing with that. I haven't seen much commentary on it, but presumably maybe some of it gets bought up by, I don't know whether some of it's been sold to Bitmine, but anyway, that's always in play. We know the ETH organization has been selling to Bitmine to fundraise their innovation spending, I guess, and the new Vitalik roadmap and quantum proofing by 2029. Now on the queue times for entry are about 56 days. So you put your ETH and you still got to wait about 56 days before you start earning that sweet revenue. Let's have a look there on the active validators. So now total active validators now sitting at about 912,000 on the active validators. We've got 50,000 on Pulsechain, 90,000 there. And credentials there, we're going to pass to the credentials, but stake supply, this is pretty important. So ETH stake there is now at 38.8 million ETH. Remember, there's about 120.7 million ETH, I believe. So 32% is now staked, 38.8 million ETH. Pretty awesome, eh? So 32% there staked, and we've got all that stuff coming in the queue. Presumably that will be added to this percentage. So awesome stuff. Staking APR at the moment. Look at that. We saw that 450 ETH leaving the queue. So yield has been increasing, 2.72%. We're now at 3%. And we saw that in the recent announcement from a Bitmine Immersion that the rate had gone up from about 2.7, 2.8% to 3% yield. So they're just increasing their income, making Bitmine even more valuable, let alone the price of ETH having re-rated somewhat, as we can see in the chart. So pretty cool. Let's go to the daily here for ETH. Pretty exciting. And so we're bouncing at the moment off the 50-day. So we sort of bounced off that. We tested it and bounced off it. That's probably a positive sign, right? Because you break through, you want to retest, and then you want to bounce off. This one, obviously, we broke down pretty quick. This one here, we've been elevated for quite some time. It'd be nice to bounce off the 50-day, which is at 2,240, and then take off from here, right? So we'll keep looking up for that narrative and leading into the weekend. We got the 200-day moving average at $2,614. We're right at the bottom of the range, so a nice target there to attack in the future is at 2,600. So look out for some nice green candles like this, no doubt, coming with that buying pressure. And of course, Tom Lee from Bitmine and Michael Saylor's strategy, they're providing structural support to the Bitcoin and Ethereum charts. I mean, most money is coming into these two blockchains, right? Most money is coming into here. This is the main game in crypto, and we also saw all the mega themes. Strategy is vampiring the debt markets, and Tom Lee is with Bitmine Immersion is bringing over finance onto the blockchain, Ethereum blockchain, including all the big themes that we see around tokenization, AI agents. Those are kind of the main stuff, and creative payments and everything else. And then we've got the traditional stable coins, USDC and Tether, building up having more and more issuance of stable coins backed by US Treasuries on the Ethereum blockchain. So it's pretty exciting stuff happening there. Very cool. So we'll keep a lookout for that. We've still got a slightly uptrending 50 moving average as well. Get over that 200, and got a golden cross, and it adds even more TA support to the fundamentals that we keep talking about. So very cool stuff happening. And I thought, we've got a bit of a dip down, a little bit of a bounce at the moment. But that's some of the key stuff that we're looking at the moment moving forward. All right. Should we jump over to Pulsechain? Anyone like Pulsechain? Should we talk about that? Get in the chat there if you've got anything you want to look at Pulsechain, or any news that I don't talk about. Let us know in the chat there. Of course, yesterday we had some big news around LibertySwap, so we're going to talk about that and see what else other updates they got. We're waiting for their big yield product as well. It is a huge week for LibertySwap, rolling out some cutting-edge DeFi on Pulsechain, and Pulsechain has another big wallet now on the chain, which is pretty cool, and it is multi-chain, so you can use it on other chains and everything else. Very cool. Pulse at the moment is currently, let's do a refresh of this. We're currently on day 1,084. Pulse at the moment is at 50733, down 3.2%. PulseX at the moment is at 50588, down 2.67%. We're sitting at 8.91% on the buy and burn at the moment. And Incentive token at 34.7 cents, down 1.6%. We've got Hex at the moment, or PHEX is down at just over 1/1300th of a penny, down 1.3%. And then we've got EHEX there at 00059, down slightly as well. 1PX will get you 2.23 EHEX, so pretty similar to the last couple of days. But Pulsechain is still looking to find the bottom. We are kind of in a consolidating range, but we are showing a bit weaker day to day than we have in the last couple of days. So we might look at the charts in a minute for Pulsechain and see where we're going after that. So we're at just under 1.1 million beats, so a bit elevated today, sitting at 0.3 of a penny for a Pulsex swap, so super cheap still, regardless of being up, a bit elevated. We're broken below 50,000 validators. We've lost about 350 validators. I don't know who it is, but we've lost 350. We're sitting at 49,982 validators on the old Pulsechain. So I don't know if anyone's been, maybe CryptoSolve or somebody that's been commentating on that. Bridge at the moment, 69 million. I think we're down to about another 250,000 there on the old bridge. So probably lost some money over the bridge there. We might go check Pulse alerts as well. So we've got a little bit of extra homework to do moving forward. Let's get into the main charts and look at the default view. So this is the default view on Deck Screener. I typically go through it every day because it's a great way of covering a lot of stuff on Pulsechain. I believe I'm the only large influencer doing it. So it's kind of just one of the unique parts of the Crypto Night show contents. We've got baseline in the house. There's Glass is integrated with Lucid. Powerful trading terminal built with Pulsechain. Okay, cool. I'll have to do more due diligence on that, but that's great to hear. That is the contract there from Baseline there. Once again, everyone has to do the due diligence with anything like that. Let's have a look at the charts here. We've got SCADA. Now, SCADA's from the Supply team, kind of a niche DeFi player. Got some cool tokenomics. That is up 21% today, so that's been performing pretty well, isn't it? It's also tied into the ProveX pools. Got ProveX pools as well. Let's have a look at the chart on the US dollar. Look at that; it's getting some more volume coming in. It is a retail play, right? So 13K volume over 42 with this particular pair. It's got a couple of peers, of course, trading peers. Let's have a look at the weekly chart. That's the weekly chart. So US dollars looking pretty good. Bounced off 00075. Is now at 3,700. It's a really nice gain there in the old SCADA, and that is up in 50 days. It's up 400%, so 5x in 50 days. So there is money to be made on Pulsechain, guys. There is money to be made on Pulsechain. All right, so let's jump over to the pulse ratio and have a look at that. So the last couple of days, look at that. We had a big volume come in today. Look at that. But we have had decent, kind of a decent lift in volume over the last week. So SCADA up there quite nicely. Let's look at the pulse ratio now, 515 pulse per SCADA. Let's look at the weekly. Look at that, even stronger, of course, than the pulse. Pulse price obviously going down and the ratio going up there, so even more powerful there. And we're at 515, so really, really huge. Now, the last time we had, this is weekly candles, but the 15th December, we were down at 70. So now one SCADA was worth 70 pulse back in the 15th December, now worth 515. So, a neat supply team doing very well there with the SCADA. Now, often a lot of these teams will have some degree of control over the supply, given the way that they're launched and who gets them. So once you've gone through that initial selling point, as you saw in that chart, sort of a sell-off, it can bottom out there, and they do have mechanisms as well. So, you've got to look at all the tokenomics and the holders and etc., all that sort of stuff. Pulse Bitcoin in the house. We've got Pulse Bitcoin in the house there. Here's Pulse Bitcoin here. Woo! Pulse Bitcoin in the house there. Well, Pulse Bitcoin is number 3 today, which I think is the first time I've seen it there for a while now. It is up 17% on Pulsechain. Now, we know it's done pretty well on Ethereum, and now it really has had some God mode candles on Pulsechain. Look at that. This is weekly candles. We got 5 weeks in a row of green candles here, and the volume picked up quite decently, especially 4 weeks ago. The daily candles, look at that. So we had a bit of volume spikes here, and up and away. Look at that. It's not bad. So these are daily volume candles. Let's have a look at kind of it picked up here, but we had some volume candles before it. And how much is that up over that period of time? Over 31 days, a month, it's up 525%, so 6.25x. So it's pretty awesome. Another retail play, of course, 10,000 volume today, over 18K liquidity. But that chart's looking pretty nicely there as well. So take that into account. Now, when I say retail, most plays on Pulsechain at the moment are retail plays. We probably have, maybe 10 kind of large projects plus or minus. So, just take that into account. And then the rest of them are retail plays, as I would call them. ICBM. So, Nectar Supply, they're taking out the top spots, 1, 2, and 4. IBM versus SCADA getting lifted by SCADA. They're up 15% as well. So ICBM there, one of the tokens from Nectar Supply. And we're getting a bit of volume coming in there as well on the 4-hourly. The daily there, that's the daily there. Nice little pump there as well. Another retail play, small volume on this particular pair. Obviously, there's a pulse pair, I think, with ICBM and another token as well in the ecosystem. But that is up to date regardless. So there we go. RH Pepe only launched 9 days ago. That's up 14% right now. Once again, these are new tokens. You always have to do your due diligence, always check the contracts, etc. But this has been, I think, one of the better performing DeFi launches on Pulsechain. I haven't looked at the security myself, so you always need to do that. The quick checks say that it's okay, but once again, you always have to do stuff there. But this has been commentated on as being one of the better DeFi launches recently, and it's looking pretty powerful there. Got to be a lot of insider holders, though, of the chart looking like this, right? So there's got to be something set up around this, so just take note of that. When you get a chart looking like that, it's just too good to be true. So there's got to be some elements there helping prop that up. So take note of that. You might want to get in the Telegram groups and ask what's going on. That's all I'm going to say. We got Sean O'Malley in the house there. Hey, welcome, Sean. Up only indeed. We've got Hexamoto in the house there. Coin Mafia is the company. Mafia is the coin. That's from Hexamoto. Welcome to chat there. And Baseline says RH Pepe is always Almighty's coin, says Baseline there. Almighty's indeed. All right, so let's see what else we got going. So those are our top ones at the moment. So we've got 6 coin over 10%. So not a big day in Pulsechain. Obviously got Pulsechain cores down a little bit. But we do have a few players on the move there, and I think these are all looking pretty good, these top 6. All right, so number 8 is OG WebShares, world's greatest PDI printer. That's up 4.5% there. And we've got Helgo at number 9, up 4.4%. That is a Hex derivative token. And then number 10, rounding off, is True Farm from Neil and Daniel. And they've been crushing it. Over 400 billion Pulse has gone deposited through True Farm, and that's up 3.8% today. It looks like we just had most tokens sneak into number 10 there, up 3.8 as well. So there's a bit of a battle going on for number 10 between these two. Look at that. They keep swapping over. Look at that. It's like musical chairs. But True Farm done an amazing job there. I think we're going to have tomorrow, I think we're going to have a live stream with True DeFi. You guys looking forward to that? You guys, I just let it drop now. But we booked that in for tomorrow. I'll be setting that up after the live stream, and you'll see that on YouTube scheduled for tomorrow. So we're going to have, it's the first time I've interviewed True DeFi, and of course they have the 2x miners and True Farm, one of the top farms on Pulsechain right now. And so we're going to find out how everything's going, because I interviewed them before they went live, and now I'm going to be, after 3 months or so, I'm going to be interviewing them after they've been live for a few months and proving up the concept, which seems to have been a real star player on Pulsechain. So we're going to interview True DeFi. That'll be a bit of fun. Tomorrow, watch that for the live stream. Number 12 is Firewell, up 3.7%. PDC, the Greys has got their die pair here, always the leader there, up 3.4%. ZKP in the house there, Zero Knowledge Printer. I'm going to be posting about this later today, so check out that ZKP printer there. That we're commentating on that. Got a video to drop not long after this live stream. I'll be dropping that video, as well as some X posts. So keep a lookout for Zero Knowledge Printer. Now, this is the first project to launch on top of Richard Hart's ProveX token. You buy a ZKP, stake it, and then earn ProveX tokens. And this has been also one of the top DeFi performers on the chain, just like RH Pepe meme. This has been another top performer in terms of big returns. So this has been pretty exciting. It's still another retail play, of course, $4,300 in volume. Obviously, it's been doing about between 5, 10, and 15K volume. Of course, that means that you're getting 2-3x times if you're doing 15K volume compared to a 5K day, because it's based on reflection tokens, 5% reflection token feeding back in to that play. So pretty awesome. Baseline says printed over 10 million ProveX. ZKP is a beast. So Baseline there holding a nice little bag of the old ZKP and earning pretty nicely a year. But these tokens have been some of the top DeFi performers on Pulsechain. That's ticking away. So look forward to that from Kairos. And I think Cabal King is it? I think also involved in the ZKP as well. All right, so kind of cool. What else we got going there? We got 9mm at number 15, and it's kind of picked its head up, isn't it, the last week or so? And that's up 2.2% today. And of course, typically we would expect, we only got 2 main dexes at the moment. We've got, I think, some more coming with V3 dexes and V4s possibly. But Pulse there, ticking away. These guys give away their profits every month to the people holding the token. And it's the second biggest dex out of the 2 big dexes. And here we are, nice little another volume over the last couple of days. Not bad. Let's look at the weekly candles. And you can see the weekly candles there. It's starting to pick up here over the last few months. Look at that. Pretty nice. And it's continuing its rise. So let's see what we've risen here. But 250%. So 3.5x of your money in 42 days. Not bad. Now, we would reasonably expect this to re-rate very strongly when Pulse does a reversion in its trend. Obviously, we're still trying to find that reversion. But hey, look, 9mm's already moving. People are already placing their bets from the looks of it. So maybe you've got some market makers in there. All sorts of things going on. But a big weekly candle. Look at that. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That's the Pulse ratio, by the way. So really on the move there. 1,157 Pulse per 9mm token right now. The second biggest DEX, looking pretty good there. All right, let's go back into the mix there. We've got a few more to talk about, I guess. We've got Staked ETH. Source on Minimal. It is up 1.7%. We've got Pump Tires sneaked in there too That's up 2%. We've got Emmett Farm from Kairos. He's crushing it. He's got ZKP up here at number 14. Emmett Farm here at number 20. True Farm, of course, his underlying technology for that, number 17. Kairos is the farming king there. And also the Reflection Token king as well. I don't know. We've got Emmett there right now, up 0.7%, $1.39, looking pretty good. What else we got going on here? Stacks up 0.5%. Then we've got a couple of honorable mentions there, Inc. and PDC, the Greys there. So we've got 23 out of the top 100 trending tokens based on Dick Screener's view is in the green. So only about 1/5 of the tokens. Everything else is in the red a little bit there. Interesting enough. Now, Amiga DAO launched yesterday. That's a Cowboy King project. And of course, that is down 21% after the big rise yesterday. So have a quick look at that. Cabal King and Amiga. They got more stuff coming though, haven't they? Staking and other stuff. So there's going to be a little bit of an ecosystem here. So you can see the token, it's down, but it's still looking pretty good. It's the 1 hourly candles, not daily or weekly. But it's kind of giving you a kind of idea of what's going on there with the US prices. So we've got the Pulse price. Now we've had 11K volume there. Let's go to the hourly candles because it's only still, how long has it been out there? For 2 days and six hours apparently. So it had a big rally and held that. Most likely going to turn over or pop. Had to make a decision. Down it went and bounced off 26. Now at 28 pulse per Omega and being a high of 37 there. I think that's tied into the ZKP, isn't it? What is it? Omega DAO is a decentralized protocol combining staking, governance, and hex yield. Hex yield, that's right. Generation into a single system designed for long-term sustainability. The longer you stake, the more you earn. Omega is designed for those who understand the compounding there. So there we go. That is a little bit of a sneak peek. They got the website as well. Let's have a look at that because I don't think I've looked at it, have I? So let's have a look at Omega DAO. I think they got more things launching around the staking or something. So they got the dashboard, staking, and governance. Yeah, I still think that's that's not good. Phishing scam there. Come and pop up on their website. I don't know. Maybe tell Cabal King about that. That just popped up while I was opening it up. That's not cool. Cabal King also just launched Omega yesterday. Prince HX. Yeah. Well, it looks like it's being attacked a bit or something. That was a bit weird. But 28 right now. 28 on there. All right, so let's jump over to some of the other ones here. We got UFO down 7.8%. Mafia token from Racker Michelle, that is down 6.4%. What does he have? 1,000 validators are propping this up at the moment, maybe heading to 2,000. We haven't seen the 2,000, I think, unless he's assigning existing validators to it. But that's sitting at $2.07. Had obviously a big run up there. Not many tokens for sale, 58,888. And that's kind of where we are with the old Mafia. On that one, what else there? We got Zero Trust, I said, down 6% there. Pulse Peacock sitting at 1.1 cents, so down slightly from yesterday. It was at 1.2, I think, just under 1.2 yesterday. So it's down 5.5 despite the wallet launch. There have been a few page 1 and page 2 large holders sell down, so it's been giving sell pressure there. But look, it is a long play there with the ecosystem of LibertySwap expanding. So this part of the market, people make a lot of profits, and on page 1 and 2 holders, and you're going to get some of them selling down. They sort of sense of what we've seen the last week on that chart, despite the big rollouts launching out. But look, LibertySwap talked about the fact that the amount of fees that they make of Liberty, I think it's LibertySwap and LibertyX, I think those are two, they end up, it's equivalent to like 10,000 validator stakes. So one in 5 validator stakes equivalent to that revenue generation. So pretty powerful stuff there. And they're about to obviously expand that with the yield product, and of course the wallet are probably playing into that as that gets adoption also. So we'll keep a lookout for that. But I think the yield generation product going to be a pretty quick addition to that 10,000 validator buying power on the old Peacock. I understand too, they've now automated the buy and burn overnight, so that when they're not, when the admins are not doing it manually, it is going to be automated. So keep a lookout for the old Peacock there. ProveX as well from Richard Hart is down 5% today, and we've got the price sitting at 4 zeros, 6,600. We have not managed to get back over the 21 day moving average. That's currently at 73, just under 73,000. So 4073,000. We're at 406681 right now. So you obviously want to get that, get some confirmations to the upside, but still holding above 6,500. If it breaks that down, it's looking weak. So it's certainly looking weak at the moment. We won't lie about that. It's certainly looking the case there. not that I going to lie about it, but that's where we are. Let's look at the market cap. We're going to go daily actually market because we don't have enough chart otherwise. This is where I thought it was. There's two different things. One we're tracking it on the TA, and the other one we're tracking it on relative market caps, right? So a couple of measures of way of estimating what it should be worth. Now I have a kind of a subjective view of that it would be back between 60 and 75 million. Well, it's certainly heading back towards that at the moment, relative to the market caps of other Richard Hart cores, right? Pulse and Pulsex and Ink and stuff, because obviously it's in beta right now, but we really want to see some mass adoption. That's not necessarily going to be the case. We'll see. We know that LibertySwap's going to be adopting it, probably a few others, but still a bit of work to go there. So we'll keep a track on that. Richard Hart's playing out his game, and we'll see what happens. Some people think maybe it doesn't really care. If Richard's going to use capital, he could just use maybe the ProveX itself. He could always use LibertySwap now. So we'll see what he does with his chess moves moving forward. All right. He did have a bit of debate with some of the community members over the last 2 days. Pretty active there. Even started talking about gold mode candles that maybe people want to do with gold mode candles. I don't really see that happening until at least we get up to 5 to 10K. But you never know. You might drop a bone. You might drop a bone or something. You never know. We got Frank White announced there. Bang bang, late gang. Good to see you, Frank White. Welcome to the chat. There we go. So that is ProveX. So those are some pretty big projects that are down about 5% today. We got what else? We got we talked about Mafia. We talked about Peacock. Talked about ProveX. They're all down here. Some pretty heavyweight projects. We even got some of the James and Maria stuff. Reserve Day, Teddy Bear down here as well. Crypto Coffee's Top Hat. That's tied into the Peacock, so it's down a little bit there, 3.5% or so. So those are some of the majors there right now. So the outstanding performance today: SCADA, RH Pepe, Pulse Bitcoin on the move right now, and some honorable mentions there, not doing too bad as well. ZKP, True Farm, Emmett Farm, 9MM, etc. Those are some of the marks there. All right, should we go check out LibertySwap? Should we do that? I think we should. Let's go find the chart here. We'll see what LibertySwap launched their wallet yesterday. Let me know in the chat if you guys have downloaded that. In fact, I don't know if I can do a poll on here, but let us know in the chat if you've downloaded it. Just say yep or LibertySwap or something. Just type something like that in. And we'll see what's happening there. All right, let's go have a look for LibertySwap and see what they're landing. Now, LibertySwap is the Kraken on Pulsechain. It is the heavyweight protocol expanding a massive ecosystem on Pulsechain, and we're excited about it, right? That doesn't mean the chart doesn't have to go through its own little path, because sometimes if you have big holders get they get a lot of value, they get some selling. We've seen that last week, but we've got all these big protocols launching in the ecosystem. The yield protocol's next. That's a big juggernaut, as long as with the wallet, which is very, very cool. Isn't it wonderful that Pulsechain has another heavyweight wallet that people can use now? We've got Internet Money, and we've got Liberty Wallet, LibertySwap's wallet as well, the ZKX wallet. Let us know in the chat there if you guys have downloaded it, played around with it, using it as a DGM wallet, whatever you're doing. Let us know as well. Let's see what we've got going on here. So I think how far did we get up to yesterday? I think we got up to here, didn't we? Yeah, we got up to here. So 11 hours ago, they posted this. It seems that if you want to shield or unshield around $10,000 worth of tokens, using Liberty Shield is still better option compared to doing it directly in a Railgun. Now, doing it in Railgun is confusing for a lot of people, right? So you got to know what you're doing. But these guys have made it simple and easy, relatively speaking, for everyone to use. So the really, ease of use is really kingpin there. As the cost of generating ZK proofs, gas, and relay fees can be quite high. So they've made it real simple to do that. Very, very cool. All right, $5. $5. So it looks like it's cheaper than $7, right? So cheaper to do that. free gas both ways and multi-chain support as well. So they've made it just so much easier. No second best way to do it. So shielding, unshielding there to give you some sense of privacy of your balances of your tokens. Pretty cool. All right, so that was from LibertySwap, $10, which they seem to repost quite a bit. ZK Wallet is here. Have a right to privacy. Shield your assets. Own your crypto. Get a nice little animation there. Kind of cool. What else they got going? 10 hours ago, we are refactoring LibertyX. LibertyX members, their kind of DEX aggregator, Liberty Shield as well, which is hiding the coins and stuff, to function seamlessly as a primary in-wallet swap and privacy solutions. An extremely simple and secure trading interface will be highly valuable in the age of AI-driven hacking. So there we go. That is from LibertySwap. Extremely simple and secure. How can we get there? Please teach us. And of course, they're always open-minded for ideas there. Now, funny enough, people obviously talking about the peacock there. And when you've got a couple of page 1-2 sellers, you're going to have to absorb that selling, and you have to redistribute those tokens. So, this is what it is. Who's even hating on peacock? I don't see no one, says LibertySwap there. Kind of cool. JD says, Richard, sorry, LibertySwap, can you help out a low IQ guy? I don't know what they were asking, but they say, in any case, you can import your Rabbit wallet private key to ZKX wallet, so you can obviously import there. Well, it isn't this ideal security aspect. It's fully supported. You can use all ZKX features as usual without any difference in functionality. There we go. So they get right in the chat there answering Q&As there. Now, people obviously, everyone's after the airdrop, and that could be a rebound catalyst for Peacock. I think that the fees themselves are going to just slowly grind up, and they're adding more revenue streams, and of course the yield product's coming as well. So it's just a matter of process. But people after the airdrops, everyone loves airdrops in crypto. Is it coming? It is coming, and it won't dilute the chain of Peacock liquidity, which is fragile at the moment there, obviously with some of the larger holders there just rotating, and which means redistribution. And you want to get rid of page 1 and 2 people if they're not going to hold long term anyway. So you've got to absorb their selling. It's kind of some of the comments I would make about that. Batias at the moment is also supporting the ZKX wallet, I should say. All wallets, one swap hub. We've rolled out a major upgrade to the wallet layer in Batias, and it obviously now includes ZKX as well. So you'll be able to interact with Batias. Arguably, must still be the top DEX aggregator. We do have other aggregators, of course, obviously LibertyX and Switch from Brandon, some leading large blue chips DEX aggregators on Pulsechain. And of course, there's a few other players as well doing that too. So pretty cool. That's neat. Crypto Sparbook, one of the big Hex OG based out of Europe, done all the Hex tours and Hex education conferences, along with IBIT Hex, I think it was. And he's been doing a lot of support around LibertySwap. Seems to be in the team to some degree. And he goes, enjoy the ZX wallet tutorial, privacy features explained. So a nice little video there. You can go watch that if you want to learn more about the wallets. 7 hours ago, we wish we had 48 hours a day to grind on Pulsechain software, but sadly, Earth still runs on the standard edition, a 24-hour plan. So instead of cloning ourselves, still in beta, we've automated the Peacock buybacks to keep working while we sleep. So there we go. I'm buying another $2,000 worth of Peacock at slight discount too, thanks to absorbing some of that whale, or at least the one large holder of sellers on page 1 and 2. 6 hours ago, so this is what makes ZKX wallet especially powerful for Pulsechain trading. If an RPC fails or gets congested, the wallet automatically rotates to other available RPC endpoints and reroutes transactions seamlessly in the background. Our goal is to keep everything running smoothly, even during extreme trading conditions on Pulsechain. And this is normally when we've had some troubles, right? Extreme trading conditions. We've seen the bridge, clogged up, things like that. So these guys are certainly helping to alleviate that problem and trading problems with the pool sizes that they operate, intent-based trading, as well as the RPCs here. So there's a number of mechanisms these guys are using to hopefully dampen down extreme events that have happened on Pulsechain in the past. Now, we like to say they never happen again, but, it's crypto. You just never know. So users don't have to manually test or switch RPCs. These guys are playing a big role in that. Kind of cool. All right, what else we got going from the team? I can't believe the man responsible for Crypto Summit and the COVID pump is leaving crypto earlier than me. The bottom is in. There we are. Yeah, we got Chairman Jerome Powell leaving the House. Well, not completely leaving, as he's going to stay on as governor. The game is on. I'm not selling. Got a Richard post there. I'm not sure what there. This is an hour ago from the team. They've got a few people in there as well. Let's see. But so the next big thing. So the ZKX wallet is live now. If you guys haven't downloaded it, you can find it in this post. So that is the link there if you guys want to check it out. And let us know in the chat there if you have downloaded it or not. You don't have to let us know if you want, but there it is. So LibertySwap 5. I probably will go through it on a live stream soon. Tomorrow I'm doing we've got True DeFi in the house. But we'll try and hope maybe cover it in the weekend and go through all the features and stuff. Very cool. Now, obviously, the wallet allows them to incorporate all their DeFi products, and that increases potential volume and usability. Cool. Now, that is stuff. Now, we're waiting for the yield product to launch, right? So the yield product from LibertySwap to launch, that's going to be pretty big. Now, the idea of the yield product course will be tied into LibertyX, as I understand it, and this will allow teams and liquidity providers, not just on Pulsechain, but other chains, to provide liquidity, set the fee terms, and then 80% of that fee term will go back to them, and then 20% will go to buy Peacock. 10% of that will be buy and burn, and the other 10% percentage points will be going into the treasury. That's the way I understand this tokenomics going to work. So we're excited about that. So very, very cool. It's also going to fatten up the liquidity pools, multi-chain, and just make everything stronger there, and also support their stablecoin solutions as well, which they're rolling out. We've got V2. We're going to have more tokens coming, not just USDC, and then V3 we're going to have swap pools as well, and that's going to be more chains. So get excited. These guys are rolling out some heavyweight solutions. Very, very cool. Now, they're supposed to have some special things launched as well. I'm not sure if they've announced those yet, so we'll see what happens. Now, they're running out of time for the month, so it might flow over a little bit into early May, is my guess. And when I say early May, probably very early is the way that these guys rock and roll. That it's pretty much it. Let's see what else. We'll see if they got any more comments about that. I think that's kind of where they are at the moment on that. So keep a lookout. These guys will continue rolling out and expanding their DeFi ecosystem. It's going to be pretty exciting to see that. All right. Now, the other big projects that we're kind of waiting for is Fast Abdul, right? Fast Abdul is got Vault 369. Now, that's going to be a multi-chain, multi-collateral liquidity fork. It is going to have some of the early tokens in the multi-collateral part of it will be VPulse from Velch and also ProveX from Richard Hart. So they're going to start for some top-tier tokens as collateral. So I think that's going to be pretty exciting to see that launch, and I'm going to be multi-chain. Now, the question is, will it be the biggest liquidity fork that we've had so far? Obviously, we've had liquid loans, so with using Pulse, Power City using PulseX and X, and then we've had Fast Abdul doing Ink Printer using Ink Token, and of course, there's going to be multi-chain using those other ones. So how much is it going to make? It's going to make a couple $1 million at least in collateralized or TVL. We'll keep a lookout for that. If it can do $10 million plus, that'd be pretty amazing. Well, I don't know. We'll start off with can it do $1 million? I think there's a reasonable target there at the moment. So that would be pretty awesome. So let's see how it goes on that front. But the more collateral it uses, the more potentiality it has for a higher TVL. And the first, as I understand, I think it's the first model collateral stablecoin and liquidity fork out there. So if that is the case, that's very exciting. All right, what else? What else we got going? Let's see what else is happening. I don't think we've had an update of Fast Abdul for a little while on that, so he's out there. We've got many other developers working on projects. I don't think a lot of them are launching just because Pulsechain's been such a downtrend. A lot of these developers probably just waiting for the Pulse to reverse, and that's why we're going to have a quick look at Pulse. We're just coming up to an hour on the live stream, but let's bring up the Pulsechain chart and see where things are going with the Richard Hart cause. And of course, they have most of the liquidity, right? In fact, we might also look at the liquidity size of things, the turnovers, just to have a look at the ecosystem more broadly. So we might be pulling up Pulse coin list. let's see, Pulse coin list. Yeah. And let me just bring that up now. We're talking about it. I'm going to go to volumes and have a look at the Titans. The Titans are the ones that call over 100K 24-hour volume. Now we're using Pulse coin list data, but we're going to have a look at the Pulsechain chart first. We're going to have a look at the weekly candles. I don't know where all my overlays. This is a different chart. I don't know. But let's pull this in. Welcome, of course. If you're new to watching the Crypto Night Show, welcome. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button on the way in. And if you're on X, don't forget to hit the follow button. And don't forget to repost the show if you want to get more and more Pulsechain out. Now, I'm the only one that does this format, right? So I'm the only one that's doing comprehensive coverage of Pulsechain every day. So we cover the markets every day. We're covering the macro picture as well with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and of course the stocks and economy. So you get a bit of everything. So follow as well. We are the largest influencers out there that are doing daily shows. In fact, I think we're the only one right now and have been for some time. There are a number of large influencers, of course, that do weekly shows or bi-weekly shows, but you're getting all your daily Pulsechain content as well as everything else that's important as well. So I hope you guys enjoy the format. All right, we've got Pulse at the moment on the weekly candles and this forever downtrend, right? So it's been pretty brutal. We've had a lot of black swan events, a lot of gray swan events. We've had obviously a lot of sacrifice people that sell down. We've had a lot of contract issues around some of the larger contracts, Compound and Maker, etc., and various exploits, or at least taking advantage of those contracts with the copied over contracts there. Now, I think most people believe that at least the contract issue is probably gone now, that the worst has happened amongst those. So that should help us find a bottom. Secondly, perhaps a lot of the sacrifices are exhausted. I mean, there's always some more that could come. And the only other thing that we see from time to time, like we saw, I think, a week ago, is a potential hack, of course, the large wallets. So obviously they can dump those down and take the capital out. Every so often you could still see somebody with large bags rotate back out into Ethereum, etc. There's always that possibility, but we're in the hunt at the moment, and I think we've got the best chance for trying to find the bottom in the old Pulsechain. Now I'm going to take it back to the price. That's the market cap in USD, but let's take it to the price here. I'm going to go full mode at the moment, and we're trying to find a bottom, right? We're trying to find a bottom here. Now, we're hoping that we're going to get at least six to 8 weeks of consolidation here so that we can break this downtrend, this big yellow line since Pulsechain launched. Now, to be fair, not only do we have Black Swan and Grey Swan events, one of those was the SEC, and this orange box covers that period that they were causing a grey cloud, as it were, over Pulsechain. And it was pretty difficult to get out of, right? Capital flight, etc., out of the chain. But of course, Richard Hart did defeat them. The only one to truly defeat the SEC, as far as I know, was Richard Hart. And of course, also the SEC took Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex to court as well, funny enough, and they also won. So there we go. But that was Dark Cloud. We had a little rally out of that, right? We had a nice rally, and then it was just down, sell, down. Many issues along the way there, including Maker and everything else. But we've got we're trying to find the bottom. So are we going to get a nice 6 to 8 week consolidation where we can get this blue chart and move out? We will see. We're certainly under pressure over the last week, and of course, having that big hack didn't help much either. We saw about $1 million go down out of the chain the other day, so that wasn't much help as well. Let's have a look at Pulse Alerts, and I think we were going to talk about that earlier too, weren't we? Pulse Alerts, I think it was, and see if we've got any insights there as well. Just quickly before we move on. Bridge net flow, so not too bad today, only 13K, so that's a good relief. But we did have some pretty heavy plays there. We also had a big sell of Pulse. The 7.4 billion Pulse 20 hours ago was sold down for 52K EUSD there. So still getting hit a little bit there on the chart there. Crypto Night says from the recent hack, no doubt. I'm not sure if that's the case, but probably is. But I haven't checked it. I don't know if Crypto Solve's covered that, so let's quickly have a look. Crypto Solve sometimes covers these things. I'm not sure if I've got his handle correct. Yeah, that's up there. And let's see whether he's commentated on this at all. scroll back up here. Don't know if he's got anything on that. I don't see anything in particular. So let's go back to Pulse alerts and see what else they got there. So we do have a big sell there. Let's see if anyone else got a decent comment about this. Not one that I see straight off the bat. 9 hours ago, Prevex there. The wallet has sold 30K in the last 20 minutes and he keeps selling. This is the wallet and he keeps selling. 7.7 bid Pulse is be ready because he's most likely to sell everything. By the way, it's thanks to people like him why the price is at this point. If someone keeps dumping hundreds of thousands of dollars when the market is dead and every coin is at its all-time low, this is what happens here. So we've still got sellers like this going on here. Wallet identified amount remaining documented and community warned. There we go. So we've still got that sell pressure on Pulsechain at the moment, and we're just trying to get the end of this, right? So this is what it is. So we just have to get through it. What else? I think I want to go back to Pulse alerts, don't I? Now I wanted to scroll down a little bit further here. And have a look at some of the bridge flows. So, 2 days ago, 28th, we had a $6,000 flow, so very small, right? We're still having, obviously, a lot of buy and burns going on with Pulsex every day. But on the 27th, we had 325K leave the chain, so, a pretty big day. So, it was still not out of the doldrums yet. We're still in pretty difficult times and having a big seller sell out, having that hack, and then having bridged out flows, not really helpful, obviously. The day before that, on the 26th, we had 600K leave the chain. So that was definitely not helpful there. So still under some duress on the old chain there with some of these issues. And of course, we saw that with 281K bridged out to Ethereum on that big day with 600K. Guess who says extra there? One wallet is finding out at least. So there we go. So we've still got some issues. The ex-wife had it again, yeah. So still got some issues there on the chain, not quite through it yet. Now on the 25th, we did have 66K positive. So it's been a few days. We had a couple of days of really $1 million gone and so forth. So a bit of work to do there on chain. I think we saw the balance on chain was 69 million, but we've still got that 15 million coast showing up there as well. So it's much lower than that, arguably. All right, so that is some of the things going on with Pulse alerts, and we are really struggling here, obviously, with that sell pressure on the weekly candle. So we were hoping that we were going to get at least a little bit of a rise here in the chart, and maybe 6 to 8 week consolidation in a way. Now we can still get that once that's the selling and the bridging pressures out. We can still get that recovery. We're still skimming along the bottom here with the old RSI, just above the oversold period. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens here. And hopefully we get that market maker ticked up to the upside there by the time we get into May. So keep a lookout for that. Now, obviously, if we get back to the macro picture, if we get strategy, issuing more stretched debt and buying more Bitcoin, supporting that, the ETFs coming in over the top along with the whales, and maybe we're going to get an announcement from the White House around the digital strategy, particularly around the Bitcoin a stockpile. Then and we saw some pretty positive comments from Eric Trump at the Bitcoin conference today, I think it was. Then we're going to get a nice little move on Bitcoin, I think, moving forward. Obviously, there's always volatility in there, but I think we're going to get some pretty nice moves of the price to the upside. And obviously, Ethereum continues to tick away, like we talked about earlier. Then hopefully we'll get some momentum in the macro picture to help Pulsechain to get a bit more positive. Now, that presumes, of course, some of the large holders don't rotate into those moves. So, still question mark, still trying to find the bottom and see whether we can get it taken off here. Now, this excludes anything Richard Hart might do. Obviously, he's not going to say he's going to do anything particular, but we'll just have to keep looking out for that. I don't really, from my view, he can always do something, and he has other things other than just buying the chart up there if that decides what he does. But actually, I think it's, once ETH gets over 5K or so, I think we're going to have to wait a longer term for some of the big plays there if the magic up ride does occur. Richard Hart did say last year he's interested in Pulsechain season, so he is working on that. And he says he's working all the time. He says everyone else stop cry-fagging, and we're also getting a rehash. So a lot of stuff around, bridge keys, all that sort of stuff. We already knew all the stuff, so everyone's rehashing again, all on all on the chain. We got a certain amount of validators doing the bridge. We've got all these issues that everyone knows all this stuff. Everyone's known for ages, and we're getting a lot of that drama online right now. And of course, the chart's probably pushing a few buttons at the moment. People getting pretty upset with portfolio values. So we're still down here trying to find the bottom. And this week we got down again to 506997. The last time we were down at 06969. So we're pretty much down the bottom there. If we have a look at that zone, you can kind of see we're pretty much touching what we were at 3 or 4 weeks ago. So we're still trying to find the bottom there. Of course, we've got the bridge pressure, sell pressure, whale hack, and all that going on. So hopefully we can hold on. It's approximately 507,000. If we can hold on to that level, it would be pretty nice. So if we can hold on to that, fingers crossed. Obviously, if we break that level, then unfortunately, we're going to go down another level, which would not be very fun. But the liquidity is getting pretty thin, guys. It's got to be tapering off around here somewhere. Fingers crossed we hold on to that because it's pretty thin liquidity otherwise. Now we do have a lot of stable coins sitting idle on the Pulsechain, but presumably that was going to be used for another day. We'll see what happens. See what happens in that place. All right. Now this is what makes LibertySwap even more profound, right? And even protocols like Vault 369 because it pulls in new capital into the system, into pools and things like that, and new technology. So these are these key players like LibertySwap, like Fast Abdul's Vault 369 that can play key roles. LibertySwap, of course, is what I call dynamic blue chip. Can keep launching and adding a new DeFi, expanding the ecosystem, multi-chain, based out of Pulsechain, of course. Cutting edge technology. It can keep expanding that. Vault 369, I don't know how long Fast Abdul's going to wait. Maybe he's waiting for a sentiment turn, so that's not going to be contributory now. But certainly LibertySwap is definitely, and maybe we might see Vault 369 come along soon. We shall see. Baseline says, I think it was Better Bank hackers selling. Oh, okay, all right, that's a pretty good insight there from Baseline. I hadn't seen that actually, but that's possible too. All right, so kind of cool. That is where we are. We're at 50,7300 right now on Pulse, so super cheap. Obviously, we'd like to see a consolidation and find that bottom eventually. Now, obviously, buying now, as you're buying large volumes, so getting so much Pulse right now is pretty insane. So what for the Pulsechain sacrifice, it was around about $85,000, depending on the multiplier you had. But essentially, a lot of them were around about 85K. You could get a billion Pulse for $85,000. So think about that. Now you can get a billion Pulse for $7,300. So $7,300. It's not going to cost you $85,000, $7,300. So this is where the world has changed. And I see a lot of people throwing Pulse around almost like it's grows on trees. But actually, when you look in crypto, you've got to think about the future value of something. So if you are one of those people, maybe you've been a bit flippant with your Pulse flying around here and everywhere. Just think about the fact that you should be in crypto thinking about the future value. And that's kind of where we're sitting at the moment, kind of sitting in that camp. Now, maybe you have to sit there and go, well, I'm thinking that eventually we're going to get an upside here. We get exhaustion and we'll eventually go to the upside. So you can be that sort of camp and we'll get a rally on. The other one, of course, is that you supportive of Richard Hart and the Magic Carp ride. He's just in Pulsechain season, and maybe you'll have to hold on for another 12 months for that or something. We'll see. So there's different camps you can hold on to in terms of fundamental value. But in any case, actually thinking about what the value of your crypto is in the future, very, very important. And maybe you don't muck around throwing around a Pulse or PulseX or whatever it is. And then you think, actually, this is going to be quite valuable in the future. I better stop treating it like it's growing on trees and actually just hodl it away, put it in some yield generator, maybe like Vouch or something, whatever it is. You can think about that. So there's obviously Emmett farms and other things. Lots of opportunities there, or you can just let it sit in your wallet and wait for the good times to come. But it is very easy when you get this kind of downtrend in the chart to start thinking it's a little bit free. Now, when the price doubles quickly, you'll get way less Pulse, right? So just remember that. If the price triples eventually, you're going to way less Pulse, and getting Pulse is going to cost you way more, right? So just remember that if the price triples, it's going to get you way less Pulse. even more than the price appreciation, right? Because we're in V2 pools. A lot of the stuff's in V2 pools there, goes up as a square, right? So just remember that. Yeah, it's just a nice friendly reminder there about that. All right, so let's jump away. That's just Pulse. So I'm not going to talk about the other calls. We'll probably do it on another show. But how are we doing for time? An hour and 15. So we're probably going to wrap up shortly. But let's just quickly do the liquidity pools. So what sort of things? We've got this price at the moment right at near the bottom, 7,300. We've been just below 7,000 twice now in the last 4 or 5 weeks. And we've got, obviously the dumper there selling, moving, stuff like that. Now, in terms of the volume, we've had about 2.6 million in Pulse volume. Pulse is the main fee coin, of course, for the Pulsechain. Wrapped ETH, we've had about 586,000 here in the last 24 hours of volume. PulseX at 417,000. And then we've had Hex at just under 400K there. And then we got PDI. So PDI, of course, is part of this Better Bank. It was designed to prop up PDI a bit. And Maker, of course, was closed down, which had drama about all that sort of stuff, essentially closed down. And so PDI there is essentially just a speculative coin like anything else. But one thing it does have big influencers supporting it, like Somi and Moon King and people like that. It does have a big community, one of our most probably passionate, if not zealot community in there. And it does have volume, right? So it does have volume. So that is ticking away, and it does have third-party support and farms and things like that. But it is ticking away here. It is at 325K volume, and the current price there, even though it's down 8% for the week, is sitting at 1600th of a penny. Now we've got Pruvex down here at number 6. Richard Art's Pruvex there, 288K. Then we've got Hex from Ethereum, or EHEX, at 137K. So we've got 7 tokens here based on Pulse Coin List that are over 100K volume at the moment. So, not a lot, right? And we only got one over 1 million, and that is Pulse itself in volume. So pretty small. These are what I call the Titans because they're relative to Pulsechain size. And so we've got these at the moment, 7 operating. Now, sometimes if we got more volume, we can get 15 pairs, not the 7, but we can double up the amount of pairs that we got going. Some of the ones that do get up higher, incentive tokens not too far away, 95K. We're at Bitcoin right now, 84K. And these are the copy contracts, right? So PDI and Wrap Bitcoin are all copy contracts, and they're ticking away there. And then we have a Tropa from James Maria doing 80K. Now they have ability to with James Maria and all his mechanisms there to ramp that up too. Number 11 is Peacock. It's at 61K. Those sometimes that's over 100K, sometimes well above 100K. So that's also a potentiality to do that too. We've got a few other James Maria Treasury Bill, Wrap Bitcoin, of course, up 45K there as well. Reserve Tay. So a lot of James Maria stuff there as well. And then we've got Teddy Bear as well. So James Maria kind of have a key player in the volume play as well on Pulsechain. And then, of course, we seem to have OG Webshift there, Gas Money, and USDC there, another 4 copy. USDC and USD Tether, of course, tend to move with PDI as well. So those are some of the ones that are really pushing the volume through. And those are some of the ones that LibertySwap will be benefiting from, and other ones that are able to make money from bridge values and swapping values are these top liquidity pools, which I call the Titans, right? But we definitely want to increase our volumes and have more peers doing over 100K. Obviously strengthens the whole chain, but we're not there at the moment. We're on the low end right now, as we saw in the chart and with the sellers, etc. So keep a lookout for that to see if we can get a bit of an up chart. And look, we could end up with dozens of pairs if we do get a reversal in that Pulsechain chart to the upside. We could get dozens and dozens of charts there hitting over 100K, and everything is on the move, right? Everything is on the move, and therefore we'll probably have some of these top tier tokens like Rich Art, Cause, a few others, maybe PDI, a few others here. Peacock, of course, is going to continue to expand its ecosystem. It's buying of Peacock powers, particularly with the yield product and the swap pools, multi-chain future, and everything else that has with the wallet and everything. So that's probably going to end up being a bit of a powerhouse as well. And we'll see some of these tokens change position moving forward as some get stronger and others sort of just based on their current sort of drivers. So it's going to be fun to see it all play out. So you guys are still pretty early here. Arguably, you could be buying off the bottom, assuming we hold that 7,000 mark. Keep a track of that over the next couple of days. Yeah, exciting times. So exciting times, I think, for buyers. And if you're just sitting there hodling, hodl away. If you want to lower your dollar cost average, then you can buy now and pick up big volumes and lower the average down, which means that if we do get a recovery, you're only going to have to wait for so long to get back to that break-even point. So it's one way to look at it. As long as you're fairly confident that we're not going to break down to another level, that's always the question mark. We'll be watching that over the next week to see if we hold that 7,000 mark for sure. DCA, of course, a nice way of thinking about that as well. You can just slowly DCA into that. We've got a couple of players now offering products to DCA too, so it's kind of neat. All right, so what's coming up? I guess the big thing is the yield product from LibertySwap, maybe Vault 369. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. We're going to be interviewing a top DeFi team on Pulsechain tomorrow, True DeFi, which has done amazing stuff with the whole new concept on Pulsechain. So we're going to break that down tomorrow. So look forward to that. We're going to have Neil and Daniel in the house. Over 400 billion tokens have been deposited or redeposited in that system, which is pretty astounding numbers. So look forward to hearing from them tomorrow, and I'll catch you then. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. An hour and 21 minutes on the live. It's been a lot of fun. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the repost button, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. And of course, look forward to my ZK. Was it Z? Z. X. Anyway, it's coming. It's coming. I'm getting tongue-tied now, but I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. Bye for now.